In this video, I'm going to be talking about vaccines. I'm referring to vaccines in general.
A new poll reveals just how many parents are now choosing not to vaccinate their children. The Washington Post finding 1 in 6 parents have either delayed or skipped some of the standard vaccines for their kids.
And a lot of things you need to know about vaccines before you decide to vaccinate yourself or your children, your babies, and all that. So let's start with the basic. What are vaccines? Vaccines are not similar to conventional drugs or medicines that you take. Vaccines are completely different. Before I would define vaccine for you, you need to know something about how the body actually fights against diseases on its own. When a person is infected by a disease, maybe a virus, a bacteria, pathogen, or parasite, when it goes into the body, it immediately starts multiplying and start destroying the body. So there's a part of the human body which is called the immune system. So this immune system consists of a series of components and network whose primary goal is to fight against diseases. So when the immune system detects that, hey, there's been a foreign substance in the body that is currently destroying the body, they get to work. So there are 2 primary ways they get to work. The first one in science, it's called innate immunity. The second one is adaptive immunity. Don't worry, I'm simplifying this video for you, so I'm not going to be using the fancy terms. But what happens is that when diseases are introduced into the body, the immune system first has a default way to respond, just a regular default way it combats every diseases. So the immune system goes about its work fighting the pathogen or the disease. So in most cases, it easily defeats it because it's that strong. But in some other rare cases, the disease might be really, really strong. That is what in the world we refer to as deadly diseases or deadly virus. So it means that the regular ways of fighting the disease doesn't work. So what does the immune system do? This is actually a very amazing feature of the human immune system. So it begins to study the disease. Why the disease is multiplying and destroying the body. It begins to study all of its features. Then it creates, your immune system creates a custom solution to fight against it. That means it creates a unique ways it can counter it. So when you create that unique ways, you instruct the body on what to do, and then the body activate this custom solution, and then it fight against the disease. If the immune system successfully destroy that deadly disease, it's a win for the immune system and for the body. The person become healthy. But one thing the immune system does, if it successfully destroy the disease, that it creates a custom solution for, it would then decide to keep an inventory or a record of the custom solution it actually invented to fight that disease. The immune system doing this on its own. So why does it do this? So in case that disease enters the body some other time, maybe in case of next time infection, people who get sick of an illness, of a dangerous illness, and recover, can also get sick in the future if the same sickness is introduced into the body. So the body keeps a record of how it successfully defeated. So that record it keeps it in science. The part of the body keeps it, it stores it. It's called the memory cell. So the next time that same disease or virus infiltrates the body, now the immune system is even better ready to combat it. So before it gets to multiply and destroy the whole body, it already has a solution. So this is actually the natural way your body fight against diseases, mainly through these 2 major processes: innate immunity and adaptive immunity. But then we are talking about vaccine, right? So yes, so some people, some scientists decide to come up with an idea. The idea was like, what if they could get a disease, a very deadly disease, and somehow weaken it in a laboratory and then introduce it into a human body? Don't forget, this is a dangerous disease. Let's just say, for example, hepatitis B or HIV virus. Then they weaken it in a laboratory. Then they introduce it in a human body with the hope that the human body will easily fight it off since it's weakened. And then after doing that, since it's a strange new disease, then the human body would by itself, have created a custom solution to fighting that disease and save it in the memory cell. So what those scientists actually came up with is an artificial way to provoke the body into developing a memory cell, like an immunity, not immunity as in absolute immunity, but immunity in sense of a solution to combat such a virus. So the major purpose of them doing this was because they theorized that if the body successfully defeats the weakened version, which they theorized it should easily do, then when the major active, strong, functioning version of the virus comes into the body, it won't need to guess around trying to figure out a way. That means your immune system won't need to guess around trying to figure out a way to fight it. It already has a solution in its memory cell. That is where the idea of vaccines came into place. So what are vaccines? They are not medicine. They are actually an artificial way of triggering the immune system to create memory cell, and they work directly by introducing the said disease into the person. So it's quite crazy, but the whole idea of vaccines, the primary idea, and this is important, this is not some conspiracy theory. There's no argument about it. It's a fact. It's on the CDC website, WHO website, it's everywhere. So the whole idea of vaccine is to infect a healthy person with a mild or weakened version of the disease in hopes that the person develops its own immunity against the said disease. So next, the important question is, does that work? Well, before I answer that question, does that work, I want to give you a better analogy, to judge it yourself. Vaccine works. The idea of vaccines is, you anticipate that a human is going to get infected by a virus. Then you decide to infect the human with a weakened version of the virus in order to prepare him for the main one. I'll give you an analogy. A lot of you probably have kids, or maybe not your own. So the whole idea of vaccine, so imagine the kind of difficulties, challenges the kids will face in their future. One of them is most likely heartbreak. Many of you that face heartbreak or abandonment or rejection, maybe by parents, by partner, how devastating it is. It's even more devastating during the first time. And after the first time, people get to, in a way, survive and adapt to somehow be better prepared for that situation ever happening again. So the whole idea of vaccine is, so now imagine if you can anticipate that your kids, are going to have heartbreak in the future. So, and then you thought that, the best way to prepare them is to set up an heartbreak for them now that they are young and babies. When you say set up, you mean you're going to control it. So you're not going to make it that devastating. Get someone to fall in love with them, to fake it, and along the line, pull it off. And then when your kid is crying, say, I'm preparing you for the future. How does that sound to you? Well, that is the whole idea of vaccine. So the question you're wondering, does it work? Well, this question is quite a very tricky and controversial one. It actually depends on who you are asking. If you go online, everywhere, they are going to be gazing over vaccines, talking about how extraordinarily it works and how very rare the side effects are. But these are not true, and I'm going to prove it to you that they are not true. Well, this is still very controversial. I would say it depends. In our world today, it's usually politicized. So one part of the political spectrum wants to have a propaganda and wholly favor their propaganda, and the others, So if you follow the so-called pro-vaccine people, they are going to gaze it and tell you how exceptional it is, which isn't true. So they will try to bring a lot of fact, but it isn't true. And I'll give you some very good evidence why it isn't true. For example, I'm not dismissing that it can work. Of course, vaccine can work, because like in the analogy I gave you, about having to prepare a child for a potential challenge in the future and inflicting the child, well, he might just survive, but when you do it, for so many child, how many of them will survive? So it's not something that will be certain or that will be guaranteed, because it's not even sounding ethical. We know how it's going to end, and it's the same thing too with vaccine. There's a lot of reasons why it can go wrong, and some of them are even scientific reason. So not just a theoretical reason. One of it is you never can tell the immunity of a person. You are introducing a said virus, a weakened form into a person. So you never can tell, do you have a way to test this? Do they test immunity when they go into countries and enforcing vaccines on everybody? Do they test immunity? So you never even can test the individual's ability to combat the said virus. And there's a medical terminology for that. So there are many ways it can backfire. But I will also want to tell you something, regarding the COVID vaccines. When it was actually rolled out for the whole world to receive, it came out during the pandemic. And usually when vaccines are being made, it has to go through a process of trial, which take years. But the COVID vaccine couldn't go through all those process of trial because there was a supposed pandemic in the world at the moment. So the world at the moment needed an urgent intervention, according to what they said. So because of that, the COVID-19 vaccines was rolled out without trial. So because of this, the FDA in America actually imposed a mandatory report system on the COVID, to be sure that it was actually working, since it never undergoes its trial, So it's called the Vaccine Adverse Effect Reporting System. I think it's pronounced VAERS. So the Vaccine Adverse Effect Reporting System, it's a system that was created by the FDA for people who has been vaccinated to actually report if they had any adverse effect on the vaccine. So, and guess what? Tens of millions, I don't know if I got that right, but definitely tens of thousands of people reported death, in the vaccines. And then I don't know how many reports there were in general. So, but these were a lot of people reporting. So, why did I point this out to you? So if you want to go into real life observation of whether vaccine work, that is an actual metrics. So not if you want to listen to big corporation like the WHO, which are controversial, I'm going to prove it to you, or the CDC tell you if vaccine works. So when that was done, a lot of people reported, I think there were 30,000 deaths, and but guess what? The likes of WHO and others, they dismiss this, So if they want to dismiss this because their argument is, how do we know if the deaths weren't exactly caused by the COVID? Although the whole point of the reporting system is for people to report, people who has been vaccinated, they must be vaccinated, otherwise it will not like to report. Yes, of course, maybe we definitely know some might be fabricated or exaggerated or, whatever, but of course, you can't dismiss such a system. So if you go into real world observatory, it's very controversial, as it should be. It doesn't work. And when I say it doesn't work, it doesn't mean it can't work. It doesn't work as in, when you say something work, you should be boasting of 90%, not a kind of 50% something, right? Or a 60-40% something. Those are with high risk. And not just that, there are also other hospitals and at clinic who has also, even let me focus on the COVID-19 vaccines, for example. So there were also many others hospitals and clinics who also reported adverse effects and casualties due to the vaccines. There've actually been many. There've also been many who has reported that it causes myocarditis. That is an inflammatory of the heart, and also what do you call this French syndrome, Guillain-Barré syndrome, which causes people to be paralyzed. So yeah, there have been many, but of course, when you listen to the WHO, they want to dismiss this as a rare, side effect or a rare casualties. So they just dismiss that there will always be rare death. Which, when one person is reporting on something, you don't assume that those are the only people that were negatively affected. So I want to leave this. Let me stop touching on this because there's still so much I want to talk about. So does it work? So it depends. If you want to listen to the big players, the WHO and the like, they're going to gaze it for you and tell you how wonderful it is. If you want to go into real life world statistics, not statistics provided by there, statistics where people are asked, to state their own casualties, it's really, really controversial, highly controversial. And let me tell you something, in case you are wondering, why not believe the WHO? Why listen to people like me? When I was preparing for this video, if that's your thought process, I totally understand. I've been there before. Why it's normal to think like that? Because you're going to want to think these are the experts, the likes of WHO, CDC, and all of them, NIH and so on. They are the experts. They should know better. They are the expert. They know better than just one person looking like a whistleblower. Yeah, it's true that they should know better. So, but what you should know is, how do we know if they are not compromised, if they have not been infiltrated, or they don't have some ulterior motives? So how do you know that? Well, that's a good thing you need to consider. And not just to consider, these names, these big names actually do have ulterior motive, and I'm going to give you about three reasons why you should not believe their claims on the vaccines, why you should discredit them. The first reason is that they have been proven to be dishonest, to be very dishonest about your health. So the first example I'm going to give you is Dr. Anthony Fauci. I have a video. If you've not watched it, you can check it on my channel. It's recently been exposed. It's always been exposed, but hopefully they can get in on trial. Dr. Anthony Fauci, it was the one that the whole world kind of assigned to give guidelines for COVID. So he gave all the guidelines regarding the use of acclaimed spokesman for science. So it turns out that Dr. Anthony Fauci, sponsored a research in Wuhan, China, that engaged in gain of function on the coronavirus. So I don't want to go into the details. I have a video on my channel, but I'll just summarize it for you. The same person who was tasked to protect the world from the COVID-19 pandemic turned out to be the one who most likely has created it in the first place. His name is Dr. Anthony Fauci. This month is July of 2026, is standing on trial before Congress once again to answer for his crimes against humanity and his many lies. He's been unraveled to have told a lie by the former director of national intelligence, Dr. Tulsi Gabbard. I have a video on this, so I'm not going to talk about it. So speaking of dishonesty, let's go into, okay, I know a lot of you watching me, I really want to dive deep into this topic, because a lot of people watching me, I know some of them, they are nurses and all that. They are nurses, and some of them are pro-vaccines, nurses and doctors. And I know they are pro-vaccines advocates. I know the thing that everybody should know about vaccines. Not everybody who's at least knowledgeable about it. And is that vaccine doesn't provide absolute immunity. What does that mean? When you get vaccinated, I want to ask you a question. Is it possible to ever get infected by the virus ever again? Well, based on current vaccines at this time, this is July of 2026. So when you get vaccinated, you are not, it doesn't mean absolute immunity against the said virus. Okay, so what if someone goes around telling people, if you get vaccinated, it's absolute immunity, you're not going to get infected by the virus again. So what will you, as pro-vaccines or anti-vaccine people, say? Well, you either say that person is making a false statement, or they are lying if they're intentional about it. Well, if that's your response, I can tell you that the former director of CDC, a name should be on the screen, in 2021, the year 2021, stated that, I don't know if it was regarding general vaccines or COVID vaccine, but she stated that if you get vaccinated, you will not be infected from the disease again. That the people who are the problem are the unvaccinated. She stated it so many times. 2020, if I'm not mistaken, it should be on your screen. Dr. Anthony Fauci, former director of NIH and many other institutes, of health, literally the face of science in the United States, they are self-acclaimed face of science. He stated, what did he stated? Many times in 2021, that vaccinated people don't get the virus. So now we have the CDC, lying, or I would definitely say it's lying, because they should know better than you that a vaccinated person does not spread. A vaccinated person can still get the virus. So we have the former director of CDC saying that. We have the former director of NIH, going everywhere with his political propaganda, saying that. And also told that we have the WHO 2020, an article on their website saying, listen, I said the WHO, the World Health Organization, saying that vaccinated people do not get the virus. It was on their website 2020. It was later modified and edited to say they can get the virus after so many backlash. But of course, the evidences are still there. So we have all the people who are giving you all the guidelines being directly misleading or falsifying information or lying, whichever way, it's definitely not truth about the conditions of a vaccinated person. So these people have proven to be very dishonest, and it's a lie because they know the truth. But if they know the truth, then why are they going about doing that? And that's a big question. I remember I had to present this discussion, not really this discussion, about vaccine, before some very amazing people, amazing Italian people. I presented it in Italian. And then they asked me a question. They said, but why would they do that? Why would people? Well, the why, I will answer that now. Why would people do that? And that's the thing, you wouldn't think, why would the doctors who are look on by society as morally, righteous, why would they just want to kill people? Why? Well, the answer it's quite simple, but only that you've somehow associated a delusional sense of righteousness to them. Why do they do that? It's the same. It's like asking me, why do people commit crime? It's motive. The motive can either be money, power, or whatever. So when it comes to the vaccine, it's a multi-billion dollars profit-making industry. You know what it takes to oh boy, if you could get entire countries or continents to take your vaccines, oh boy, it's a multi-billion. And if humans are greedy, what would they do? They will exploit. It doesn't matter if they are doctors or lawyers. So don't what's it called? Don't attribute a false sense of righteousness automatically to doctors just because they wear white suits and look like they talk very nice. It means that, oh, they don't tell lies or they don't have motive to mislead people for money. I don't want to go into these details, but you know what I'm talking about. But one of the other major reasons is population reduction, which I would not have enough time. I'm going to end with this. But yet it's a very big agenda of them. And this is not something I'm making up. It's all over the internet. One of the biggest advocates or propagator, the most famous of these is Mr. Bill Gates, who also happens to be the biggest philanthropist and the biggest sponsor of vaccines in the world. So Bill Gates is an advocate for population reduction. You know, I think evidence should be on your screen now.
This equation has four factors, a little bit of multiplication. So you've got a thing on the left, CO2, that you want to get to zero. And that's going to be based on the number of people, the services each person's using on average, the energy on average for each service, and the CO2 being put out per unit of energy. So let's look at each one of these and see how we can get this down to zero. Probably one of these numbers is going to have to get pretty near to zero. That's back from high school algebra, but let's take a look. First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
In many programs, even in one TED talk, it was in the year 2013. Yes, 2013, 2010, he has made known of his desire to, he has highlighted the problem of overpopulation in the world, not just as a textbook problem, as something that it takes as a real evil problem. So not just like a textbook problem, like, oh, maybe you just say, oh, you know, so and so. No, something you think is a threat to humanity or to the existence of the planet as a whole. That is Bill Gates for you. And he's very vocal about it. He has speculated about reducing the world population with the vaccine. In the TED Talk in 2013, if I'm not mistaken, he said that, you know, although of course they have a way to manipulate this word when they be caught and say, no, that's not what I meant, blah, blah, blah. Well, let's agree to disagree, because this is the end of the video now. I don't want to talk much. That is not what you meant. But the fact is, which is not, it doesn't deny, it's very vocal about, is a major advocate for population reduction. He believes that the 9 billion people in the world, it's a big problem and big threat to humanity. And actually, is also one of the elite group of population advocate reduction people who believes that the world population should be 500 million, from 9 billion to 500 million. So, and then when he retired from Microsoft, he dedicated all his life into moving this cause. And guess what? That same person is the leading sponsor of your vaccine. That same person that wants your population to reduce from 9 billion to 500 million is the leading sponsor. When I say sponsor, it's freely giving it to you, freely giving it to you. He wants you to have it. He spent all of his life, all of his resources trying to get you to have it. So, over to you. What do you think?